Welcome investors! Today we'll be talking about consequences of the war in Ukraine and about one new company to my portfolio which I bought the shares of and I'm watching very carefully. I'm planning to buy more shares when the Fed starts to increase interest rates and the stock market goes down significantly more than now in next month. This company is connected to the defense industry and particularly to manufacturing the most modern drones used by US Armed Forces. Currently, the top of the line of US drones is MQ-9 Reaper, or sometimes called Predator B. Of course, this is just an example, and there is more drones used by US Armed Forces, but this drone is by far the most popular and widely used by the Navy, US Army and CIA. For example, there is another very popular drone called RQ-170 Sentinel, and it is made by Northrop Grumman, and you can easily own shares of Northrop Grumman. But Predator B drone is made by General Atomics, and it is privately owned company, and there is no way to buy its shares, at least right now. But I'll show you how you can own a piece of General Atomics even if it is a privately owned company. Just make sure to stay to the end of this video. But first, let's talk about the consequences of war in Ukraine. Looks like Putin's invasion of Ukraine is stalled in the Donbas area. I'm talking about Putin's invasion because there are demonstrations against the war in Russian cities, and Putin is the only one who wants this war. Nobody else, but of course nobody from his inner circle is going to stand against Putin, because he or she will lose their head immediately. So let's take a look at some consequences this war can cause for NATO and for Russia. 1. NATO will be strengthened and solidified. So far NATO countries were not really on one page. There were differences in how much countries should spend on their defense budget. For example, Poland, Litva, Latvia, Estonia, Slovakia, Romania were spending above 2% of their GDP. But Germany, Belgium, Holland, Spain, Italy were spending below 2% of their GDP on their defense. So those countries which I mentioned earlier, including Poland, based on their experiences with Russia, know that freedom isn't free. And if you want to have peace, you have to prepare for war. Besides that, there was no common strong enemy and NATO was pretty much half asleep. But right now, Putin just put a new life into the meaning of NATO, thanks to his actions in Ukraine. This new meaning may cause NATO to expand into the new countries, which are currently cooperating closely with NATO. First country is Sweden, who as the only one non-NATO member already bought Patriot missiles for $3.2 billion from Lockheed Martin in 2018. And in 2021, missiles were delivered to Swedish armed forces. The second country is Finland, who bought 64 F-35 jet fighters for $9.4 billion to increase their defense capabilities. Interesting fact is that Finland, neighbor Sweden, who is the maker of Gripen made by Saab, who was bidding for the contract, but Finland has chosen F-35s over neighboring Gripen. Those purchases by Sweden and Finland will bring those countries much closer to NATO. In 2014, Finland and Sweden signed the agreement to train together and allow NATO assistance in crisis situation. So right now, when we have a war in Ukraine, those cooperations will be much closer and can result in Sweden and Finland joining NATO. In June, NATO will hold its summit, and most likely Sweden and Finland will officially request membership in NATO, and most likely will be accepted. Putin started this entire war in Ukraine because he wanted to roll back NATO to 1997. But instead of this, his action most likely will expand NATO for new members in the fear of being invaded next by Russia, which is less likely to happen because Russia is currently drained militarily and economically in Ukraine, and they do not have resources to invade other countries. Second consequence of this war: oil and gas are responsible for more than 60% of the Russia's export and provide more than 30% of country's gross domestic product. Europe will drastically reduce their dependence on Russian natural gas and oil. Poland has already built a pipeline to import natural gas from Norway through Denmark. And the recent cut off the natural gas from Russia really did not affect Poland. Germany put on hold Nord Stream 2, which costed Russia $10 billion. Russian revenue from natural gas and oil will decline significantly in coming years. And besides natural resources, the Russian economy does not have much to offer, unless Vladimir Putin puts more attention towards building the Russian economy instead of conquering sovereign countries. And already entire Europe is thinking about repositioning itself away from the Russian gas, in retaliation, of course, for invading Ukraine. This will drastically decrease income for the Russian economy. And third consequence of this war: after annexation of Crimea in 2014, foreign investments went down in Russia 50%, and Russia currency went down around 50% as well. Sanctions caused that Russian military contractors did not have components to build jet fighters Su-35 to fulfill contracts with Indonesia, Algeria and Egypt, and contracts had to be cancelled. The Russian military industry will suffer even more right now after further sanctions from the Western countries. You have to remember that Russia relies heavily on Western technology to manufacture their military equipment. So most likely they will reposition themselves to buy Chinese technology, but the results of those actions remain to be seen. So those three unwanted consequences for Putin of war in Ukraine: 1. More countries joining NATO, Sweden and Finland. 2. Russian economy going into the deep recession because of the sanctions from the West. And 3. Russian military production is suffering deeply because of the embargo of Western technology. Let's talk about how you can own a piece of General Atomics, who is making the most popular drone, MQ Reaper or Predator B, sometimes called. And it's made by General Atomics, privately owned company, which doesn't sell any shares. So the heart of the Predator B drone is its engine. This engine is a Honeywell TP3 33110GD turboprop engine with 900 horsepower. Besides the engine, Honeywell is a significant content provider for the Predator B, from advanced avionics to mechanical systems. And the great news is that you can own shares of Honeywell because it is a publicly traded company. It is really good company, very well diversified. Company's portfolio ranges from manufacturing thermostats for the household use to manufacturing highly sophisticated engines and guiding systems for military use. So buying this company is like buying a mutual fund in the range of electronics and software equipment used for commercial use to manufacturing equipment for military use. And it is a pretty big company. The market cap is $130 billion. Debt of the company is $20 billion. Cash on hands is $11 billion. And enterprise value is $140 billion. So a couple days ago, I initiated the position in Honeywell. So let's take a look at my account a little later. I have a very small position, just 10 shares, but it is just the beginning, as we are approaching the interest rate increase announced by the Fed in May. This will cause the market to go down and create opportunity to buy Honeywell at the good price. So please let me know, what do you think about this company? Do you agree with me or you disagree? Also, drop me a comment about the war in Ukraine. What do you think? Do you think that those three consequences which I mentioned are really going to materialize? Please let me know. Thank you so much for watching this short video. I really appreciate your time. If you like this video, give me a thumb up, subscribe to the channel, and share this video all over the social media. Thank you so much. Have a great day.